Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the program today, we go on the road to explore what may be one of the biggest problems facing the Silver State. Randi Thompson has the rundown.
Well, Sam was on location with Don Gibbons down in Arizona, getting a new perspective on illegal immigration.
And coming up on the Power Pundit panel today, Susan Fisher, Andy Barbano, and Alfredo Alonso. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
In part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
Here at the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, water resources come from fresh, clean groundwater, approved by state permits. The water is pumped from wells to million-gallon storage tanks and then distributed to TRI companies. Another amenity is our investment in a state-of-the-art wastewater treatment plant. This disposal system converts waste to clean water for industrial applications. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevada.
Nevada Newsmakers is sponsored in part by the Nevada Beer Wholesalers Association.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and Social Security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
So, who do you use for workers' comp?
Pro Group Management.
Ah, I've heard some good things about them.
Oh, you bet. Employee background checks, safety training, claim seminars. Oh, and here's the great part. If you have an issue, they work for you, not against you.
Sounds perfect. And expensive.
Well, that's the best part. They saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
Works for me. Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, I'm joined by Don Gibbons and former Assemblywoman. We're in Sierra Vista, Arizona, just north of the border of Douglas, Arizona,
yes.
Which we have just returned from. We're going to talk about illegal immigration. But first, before we get started, I have to ask you a political question. As everybody knows, the likelihood is that you're going to run for your husband Jim's congressional seat. It's not been officially announced yet, but that's the likelihood. And one of the questions that keeps coming up is, this is a very Republican primary. The winner of this race is likely to be chosen in the primary. Mm-hmm. You voted for the huge tax increase in 2003. How is that going to affect your campaign? Do you think it's going to hurt you?
No, and I'll tell you why. I made proposed cuts many, many times. And faced with the Supreme Court decision that decimated the two-thirds majority vote, and with schools that would not open on time, particularly in our rural communities, I was not going to put our students nor their parents or teachers at risk. So I had to make a difficult decision. Either vote for a tax that I didn't care for or hurt students.
Do you think ultimately it will hurt you in the primary?
I don't think so, because I think just about everybody knew about the nonsense of last session with the politics going on and education being held hostage. And you know, the whole key is cutting spending, and there weren't enough people that would join me in cutting spending.
All right, let's move on. Where does your interest in illegal immigration come from?
As you know, I've been traveling all 17 counties in Nevada, talking to people, learning the issues, and the number one complaint I'm hearing is how porous our borders are.
Really?
And the problem with illegals coming over and taking our services, education, healthcare, social services, and the real concern is the drug smuggling coming in.
So that's actually the number one priority that's come across to you.
That I am hearing.
All right. You invited me to come along with you on this trip to the border and to go to Douglas to visit the border station there. How did you hook up with this major government contractor, New Tech Management Incorporated?
Through business contracts of my own.
Okay. We've just gotten back from the border. What do you think you've learned from briefings here and taking a trip down to the border?
The one thing I have learned about the illegal immigrants, undocumented aliens coming into the country, is there is no easy answer. However, there are some things that work and some things that don't work. Something that works, I think they're doing a very good job, Department of Homeland Security, the way they're handling cargo coming in, because we haven't had any dirty bombs. What doesn't work, that needs to be changed, is on the border, not at the legal crossings, but the OTMs that are crossing over. OTMs are other than Mexicans. 1 million have been apprehended, undocumented aliens, just this year. 120,000 of them were OTMs. When they're not from Mexico, we cannot take them back to Mexico because Mexico won't take them.
Right.
So that we're stuck with them. We don't have the places to house them, so we give them, the government gives them summons to appear in court in 90 days. Funny thing, 85% of those people don't appear for the court date. So they're running around and we don't know where they are, and that has got to change. This capture and release program the federal government has been slide on has got to end.
You know, what surprises me is that this is a federal law, and it's been around for about 100 years. It's amazing with an illegal immigration problem that we haven't thought to solve this.
Well, we simply must. We don't have the luxury of doing anything else, and there's many ways it can be done. And, you know, right here in Arizona today, we read in the paper how the Arizona governor made it a state emergency with the borders, and a few days ago, the governor of New Mexico did that as well. But simply not doing it is unacceptable.
You know, there are those that say we need to close up the border, just seal it. Do you think that's realistic from what you've learned so far?
Well, you know, and I kind of felt that way too, but that's a difficult venture to do with the commerce and other things that are going on, and we have over 600 borders in the U.S. What we need to do is give the resources to these states where the illegals are coming in mass, and then many of them are with organized crime, with the drugs, and give them the resources so that they prevent them from ever coming in, because they don't stay in at Arizona, they're coming all the way to Nevada. And we pay for it in our hospitals. You know, I looked at this hospital, Sierra Vista Hospital. They spent $600,000 last year treating undocumented aliens. Now, that cost goes to you and me. And we have the same thing that happens in Nevada.
Well, the irony is that the Border Patrol drops them off, but doesn't come back and pick them up and return to Mexico. So if you're sick...
that's not in their job description.
No.
So there simply needs to be some serious changes, and I'm so glad, thankful you went too, but so you could see it firsthand. But you have to really go down there and see what's happening to understand it. Okay,
we're going to take a break. We'll come back with more on Nevada Newsmakers with Don Gibbons on illegal immigration right after this timeout.
For a videotape copy of any Nevada Newsmakers program, call 775-857-2244. The tapes are $20 each, including shipping.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Reno's best dining values are all at one casino, the Peppermill. You can enjoy great savings on our popular specials. Peppermill's coffee shop offers daily lunch specials, low-carb dining, and all your favorite comfort foods. You'll find sensational lunch specials featuring Reno's freshest seafood, sushi, pasta, and more at Oceano. And early bird specials at Reno's Premier Steakhouse and Romanza Ristorante Italiano. The best values are at the Peppermill. Where are you dining?
Many of the materials we rely on every day come from the ground,
and modern mining technology brings them to us cleaner and safer than ever before. To learn more about America's natural resources, visit nma.org, the National Mining Association.
Come join the fun on Saturday, August 20th at the 5th Annual Ricky Woodring Memorial Fund and Scholarship Golf Tournament. It's an 18-hole four-person scramble with food and fun at the beautiful Arrow Creek Golf Club. The entrance fee of $130 includes green fees, golf cart, continental breakfast, lunch, and snacks with a raffle and silent auction. All proceeds to benefit the Ricky Woodring Memorial Fund and the Galena High Athletic Programs. A hole-in-one wins a 2005 Ford Mustang, compliments of Jones West Ford. It's a day of golf, food, fun, and prizes. Call 851-7454 now to reserve your spot.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, talking with Dawn Gibbons, potential candidate for her husband's congressional seat. Just returned from Douglas, Arizona, the border there. We're now in Sierra Vista, and we're talking about illegal immigration. One of the things that struck me in the briefings that we have gotten is that, you know, through thermal imagery, for example, you can see the illegals coming through en masse, 60, 70 people at a time. The Border Patrol seems to be overwhelmed because when they finally spring their trap, they get a few, but then a whole lot more disperse and get through. What kind of resources would you want to apply?
Well, first of all, being a Border Patrol agent, that's not a picnic of a job because it's very dangerous. They call it the 3 Ds: dull, dangerous, and dirty. And we saw evidence of that. But we simply need to do more to allow them to be able to pick up 70 people, because in that 70 people there are drug smugglers, there are people coming here for jobs, but there could also be the potential of terrorism.
But that's been a pretty minor thing at this point, wouldn't you say?
Well, we hope, because a lot of those 120,000 undocumented aliens that are within our country just from this year, we don't really know who they are.
You know, there was discussion about when the Bracero program was in effect that there wasn't illegal immigration because this was a plan for folks from other countries, especially from Mexico, to come, well, I guess 100% from Mexico, to come to the United States to do the jobs that were necessary. And we know for commerce that we do need people coming in here. At least that's what we're told. Would you like to see another program like that? President Bush has already, said that he supports that.
Well, I certainly would look at the guest worker program, but you have to look, too. They're not coming through the borders legally. These are the people that are sneaking in, and they're going to continue to sneak in, and it's 30% of Mexico's economy. So those jobs are money back to Mexico. We have got to provide the resources to stop them at the border so they never get in. And I don't think that a guest program is going to completely address those who are coming over here illegally.
Interesting. What about ideas like a national ID card or using biometrics to ID people?
Well, I think that's important to preventing terrorism from coming in here, but it still doesn't stop the number one concern that the people in Nevada and the citizens of the U.S. have is with all the illegals coming in and using our services, the incredible drain with the drug smuggling, methamphetamine, and it's huge in Nevada, of course. The worst of it is coming through Mexico, so we simply have to stop it there, so that we don't have those drugs seeping through to Nevada.
What do you say to the report that came out just recently that said that the money that illegal immigrants put into regular jobs where they do pay Social Security is about $5 billion that comes back to the government each year? Does that in any way address your concerns?
Well, I think that whoever is in this country, we should know who they are, and they can stay here if we have work for them to do. They come here and work, and then they go back and live in their homeland. So as long as we know who's in our country, no one should be here unless we've given them permission to be here.
Well, but do you agree with the idea that the Bracero program actually prevented it, that there wasn't illegal immigration during that time period?
A different time, and we're certainly more mobile, and now we have organized crime that is bringing these people over in masses, and they're just sneaking the drugs along with them. So there's a lot of money to be made by bringing these people over in masses. They're coming over for jobs, but the price they pay for coming over a job is bringing the dope with them.
Well, it's really phenomenal to just to come down here and travel down to the border area and see these wide open spaces that this large sea of humanity is coming through.
Mm-hmm. It's a very dangerous job. I think the Border Patrol, according to what resources they've been given, they've done a pretty good job at this.
Do you think that this is going to be solved with more technology or with actually hiring more Border Patrol agents? How do you think it's going to be resolved?
Well, I think it's an integrated system of people, process, technology. For instance, if your brakes are bad or your engine's bad, you just don't want to fix the brakes. You have to fix the entire engine of your car. There's just no simple answers. That's the disappointing thing that I have found out. Except they're going to be, the government has to put this as their number one priority. The federal government does. We're spending money in Iraq, but we need to spend money here to stop those people from ever getting here, because there's just not enough resources for us to handle it.
Don Gibbons, as always, thank you very much for being here. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this time out.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
For more than a decade, the Southern Nevada Water Authority has been helping the community embrace conservation as a way of life. That includes replacing more than 50 million square feet of grass with water-smart landscaping. During the worst drought on record, watering restrictions and tough landscaping codes have reduced the community's water use by billions of gallons, even as thousands of new residents were moving into Nevada. That's smart water management, and that's our promise to Nevada.
When making your decision as where to play golf, consider the resort at Red Hawk. You know you have made the right choice the moment you arrive. The friendly staff welcomes you to our award-winning pro shop. You know you've made the right decision on the first tee. The Lakes course is in the best condition in years. You know you've made the right choice after you've played 18 holes. The resort at Red Hawk, the right choice.
I tell you, John, this industry has really changed.
Tell me about it.
You seem to do pretty well last year. What's your secret?
No secrets. Although I'll tell you something. The smartest thing I did was sign up with Pro Group Management.
Really? Yeah, they do workers' comp, right?
Yeah, their services are great. And get this, they saved me 30%. I've heard they saved others 50%.
That works for me.
Pro Group Management. Finally, workers' comp that works for you.
As an employer, did you know you can be held liable for negligent hiring? A background screening by Employer Links can uncover criminal records, like alcohol and drug convictions. It can verify the applicant's education, driving records, and professional licenses. Employer Links can check civil records, registered sex offender records, and social security fraud. Hiring the right person shouldn't be a gamble. Call Employer Links. Employer Links, protecting your investment.
And now, back to Nevada Newsmakers with Sam Shad.
And calm down. We're going to get going here. Let me introduce our Power Pundit panel today. Alfredo Alonso is here with Lionel, Sawyer, and Collins. We've got Susan Fisher here with Fisher Consulting, and Andrew Barbano, editor of NevadaLabor.com. When you watched the Don Gibbons interview, it was interesting. We had Dean Heller on the program, and he hadn't really taken any positions on it yet. We've got Sharon Engel in this congressional race, and her main thing seems to be, Prop 13 for this state, and getting a lot of outside support from outside the state of Nevada. Don Gibbons brings in illegal immigration. Your thoughts, Alfredo?
Well, I think it's a very complicated issue. I think obviously it affects Nevada. It's one of our largest growing groups of minorities in the state. As a first generation, myself, my parents came here from Europe. It kind of hits home a little bit because I think it's a little more complicated than I think it's been presented. It's a very difficult issue because these people, for the most part, are coming to get a better life. It's not just a simple matter of trying to cross the border to commit a crime. So I think that is something that concerns me to some degree. Ms. Gibbons is obviously taking an issue that I think is very important. Obviously, it does affect our economy. So I think I think that it has merit, but it is a complicated one.
Susan?
I agree. There's got to be a policy change completely. Rather than saying close the borders or open the borders, let's make it easier for people to immigrate. If they want to immigrate here, to find work, to, as Alfredo said, to find a better life for themselves and for their families and get their kids in quality schools, even such as ours are in some states. They're certainly better than what they may have. And she talked about the drug importation. We need to get a handle on the drugs that are going on here. We're growing thousands of acres of marijuana in the Sequoia forest. But she said one thing that kind of got my temperature gauge up a little bit, that instead of spending all the money we're spending in Iraq, we need to spend the money here. Well, I agree with that up to a point, but as someone who has a kid over in Afghanistan, and I see some shortages that they have there, you know, we need to be taking better care of our soldiers first. Not the administration, but the soldiers.
But, you know, I have to say, on the other side of that, there's... I look at the numbers of hundreds of billions of dollars that are being spent. I think it's $2 billion a week that's being spent in Iraq and Afghanistan.
And a lot of that's going to the contractors.
Well, the rebuilding aspects.
But it says we continue to cut things in this country that would seem to have much less, or far less expensive solutions, and yet we're spending these billions and billions of dollars. Yep. But I certainly, as a mom with a kid over there, I understand that. Okay, Mr. Barbano, you are unleashed.
Well, like Alfredo, I'm the son of immigrants too. My father came through Ellis Island. I can solve all these problems for you in the next 30 seconds.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'll dovetail on what Susan said. It's really quite simple. First of all, we always treat soldiers like pawns. We don't support the troops. When they come home, we put them into a healthcare system that's a disaster and try and beat them out of their benefits. So as war historian Gwynne Dyer said 20 years ago, the purpose of a soldier is not to fight. The purpose of a soldier is to die. And we've forgotten that. With respect to drugs and immigration, Dawn Gibbons, the widow Gibbons, is playing to the moon howlers in the Republican primary by beating up on the immigrant issue. And drugs are always an easy target. What you do is to do what Richard Nixon did. The answer to the drug problem is not more prisons. The answer is treatment, and your drug problem will go away. You need to decriminalize a lot of drugs and take the profit motive out of drug importation. Yeah. That was the point of the movie Traffic. The government, the war on drugs acts as a price support system for all the drug smugglers and the criminals in Mexico. So you've got to have some enlightened management of the drug problem. With respect to immigrants, immigrants are the grease that makes the wheels of this country turn. They always have been, they always will be. But you can solve the drug problem, the military problem, the veterans problem, and the immigrant problem with some enlightened leadership. Perhaps the widow Gibbons can provide some of it, perhaps not. But as long as you've got demagogues for politicians who want to beat up on the other, beat up on the person that talks funny, beat up on the person with the turban on his head, it's never going to happen.
Okay, Susan, you wanted to react there.
Well, I just have a problem with decriminalizing a number of other drugs. I disagree.
Are we winning the
with
war
that.
on drugs? I mean, it seems to me that it is absolutely absurd, the amount of money that we've spent, hundreds of billions of dollars that have been spent around the world, and this country wants these drugs. And it seems to me, you know, maybe this is where I become the libertarian, but we should legalize all of it. Let survival of the fittest be around, take all the profit out of these other countries and other criminal elements, tax it, and use that tax money for treatment.
Well, it's working wonderfully in Amsterdam. Here's what I think.
And I've heard that argument before.
I think the most important issue...
Can we do things better than the Dutch?
And it's something that people don't seem to talk about very much, is how do we help Mexico improve their economy?
Make them the 51st state and Iraq 52.
Because if you're talking about middle class Mexicans, as it's my understanding have been polled, that actually would like to live in the U.S., prefer to live in the U.S., then we have a problem with respect to obviously the Mexican economy. We've always known that, but perhaps there's some ways that we could help the Mexican government improve their economy some more.
Yeah, we are. We're sending our jobs down there.
Well, I realize that, but I think that there are ways that I think that we could partner with Mexican authorities to perhaps help both on the border and help on the economy issue.
Wasn't NAFTA just supposed to do that?
Yeah, I'm going to let you in here.
Yeah. Well, no, it was interesting, though, as Andy and I were talking about watching the interview. The irony is that a lot of these illegal immigrants have Social Security numbers, and they're paying into the Social Security. They're never going to see that money. They are shoring up our Social Security system in a very odd way.
It's about a $5 billion.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
a lot
the
of them are
sad
doing
part.
jobs that
us
as lazy Americans are not going to
take.
We won't do them.
But so making them legal could actually impact our Social Security system in a very detrimental way.
The United States is becoming more like Mexico, with a narrow overclass of the very rich and the rest of us, and that just breeds revolution. They started shooting in Chiapas, and they started shooting in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Okay, Alfredo, I'll give you the last 30 seconds here.
Well, and again, this is a complicated issue. It's not going to be fixed overnight. I think, obviously, people like Don Gibbons coming out and talking about it, again, the dialogue is good. I think that's a healthy thing. However, it is not as easy as it may seem, and I, for one, believe that immigrants are the engine that drives this country, and I think it'll continue to be so.
Well, I agree with you totally there, and I also support President Bush's guest worker program that I guess is going to come up when Congress goes back in session, and the likelihood of that passing with the midterms coming up, I would say 0. We'll be right back on Nevada Newsmakers after this.
Nevada Newsmakers, brought to you in part by the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the world's largest industrial park, the resort at Red Hawk, and the Peppermill family of casinos.
High-tech companies demand perfect world amenities. They require clean, reliable power, state-of-the-art fiber optic communications, and clean water sources. In a perfect world, companies would have immediate access to rail and interstate freeways. There would be 4-lane expressways that shorten shipping times and provide convenient commute routes for valued employees. Well, the future is now, and it's here. Welcome to the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, the largest industrial park in the world, building economic prosperity for Nevadans.
South Reno's hotspot for food, fun, and friends is the Tamarack Junction. Play over 480 of the hottest slots and video poker games. Enjoy hot times and sizzling food specials at Sully's Sports Bar, Grill, and Nightclub. Watch your favorite game on one of our jumbo high-definition plasma TVs. Enjoy great food 24 hours a day in the dining car restaurant. Or sample the best hot and cold sandwiches in the Whistle Stop Deli. The Tamarack Junction is your junction for fun. South Virginia and Abadi Ranch Parkway. Yeah.
My family started this business 27 years ago.
We work hard to serve our customers and our community.
But it's getting harder and harder to keep the doors open.
For example, our workers' comp is going through the roof. Isn't anyone on my side anymore?
The Retail Association of Nevada is. If you're a small business owner, we can cut your workers' comp by up to 50%, lobby for your interests, and keep you informed. Put us to work today.
Don't forget, you can watch Nevada Newsmakers online now at nevadanewsmakers.com. We keep 2 weeks worth of shows online for you.
Very good. Next week we have Congressman Jim Gibbons, Lieutenant Governor Lorraine Hunt, and the President of the DRI, Stephen Wells.
We'll see you next week.